After 13 years, the highest-grossing movie of 2010 has finally made its way back to screens. James Cameron has done an excellent job with the sequel named Avatar: The Way of the Water. The film has successfully got fans already speculating what the franchise holds next, as Cameron has confirmed that there will be an Avatar 3 at the very least. In today's video, we're diving into the 5 most probable fan theories for Avatar 3. Coming in at number 5, who is Kiri's father? As James Cameron has confirmed, the tentative title for Avatar 3 is The Seed Bearer, which sounds an awful lot like a hint towards Kiri's mysterious father. Kiri is the 4th child that Jake Sully and Neytiri have raised on their own. Kiri is actually the daughter of Dr. Grace, who died in the first film. Just to give you a reminder, after a literal dozen years, when Dr. Grace was dying, Sully took her body to the Tree of Souls to hopefully transfer her consciousness into her avatar. Sadly, it failed, but in her last moments, Grace told Sully that she saw Eywa and that the Na'vi deity is real. After Grace's death, her avatar, which is brain dead, was brought back and kept in an incubator. As shown in The Way of Water, the unconscious avatar somehow conceived a child, and hence Kiri is born and is raised by Neytiri and Sully. Now we know that Grace is Kiri's mother, but who's the father? The movie doesn't answer this, but for us it's clearly shown that Kiri visits the Tree of Spirits, which is similar to the Tree of Souls. For context, throughout the movie, it is established that Kiri has a special connection to everything in Pandora. She manipulates flora and fauna around her to fight the Sky People and save Neytiri. When Kiri connects to the Tree of Spirits and sees her mother, she asks Grace who her father is. Before Grace can answer, everything just sort of short circuits, which ends up in Kiri having a seizure. It's almost like her connection to the ecosystem is too strong. Due to this, a lot of fans are theorizing that Kiwa might not even have a human or avatar father, and that she may be the birth of Eywa herself. Following that at number 4, how will Jake's, Neytiri and Loke's dynamic look going forward? Loke is Sully and Neytiri's son. Throughout the second Avatar film, he's seen as the underdog amongst the Sullys. At the start of the movie, Loke seems very close to getting his elder brother, Natiyam, killed. These very moments are echoed in the film's third act when Loke's decision to save Spider gets Natiyam killed, which turns Loke into an even bigger disappointment in the family. It doesn't look like a redemption arc is on its way, considering Loke plays a huge role in saving Jake's life when he had completely given up after his deadly fight with Quaritch. They eventually hugged it out, and it is shown that Jake accepts that Loke is not to blame for his brother's death. The way it seems to play out, Natiyam's death is going to haunt the Sullys in the upcoming films, considering Neytiri isn't able to forgive Loke for Natiyam's death. That and the survivor's guilt that Loke feels may take him to some dark places in the upcoming films. His love interest, the daughter of the chief, Cyrea, might have a role to play here. She's the one who taught him the way of the water and how it can bring people who are on the path of darkness into the light again. So far, the plot speculates for the upcoming films are looking pretty nice. Now, things are looking interesting with number 3, will Spider join Quaritch? Despite his allegiance to Jake and Neytiri, Spider is seen doing some questionable things in the Way of Water. We assume that his inner conflict starts when he sees Jake and Neytiri go after the real Quaritch. With Spider watching the shoulder cam footage, we're assuming he'd never seen the side of his step-parents, and seeing them do some real damage to his biological father must have impacted him hugely. We understand that this doesn't really give him an excuse to join Quaritch and help him and his goon squad commit atrocious war crimes, but you gotta agree, it does sound like a villain origin story, especially when you put it in the context with the film's third act, when Neytiri comes so close to butchering Spider because Kiri is held hostage by Quaritch. When Quaritch releases Kiri, Neytiri drops Spider like a sack of fruit to rush to her daughter. Just in that moment, you can tell that Neytiri doesn't really feel much for Spider, which just ties everything back to this theory. This is probably why Spider saved Quaritch from drowning and brought him back to his Ikran. Yes, we know that he didn't go all the way to fly with him, but that's probably because he's still conflicted about who he identifies with more, the Sullys or Quaritch. Now, given that you made it this far, you have to agree that there is a chance that the third film of the franchise can pose Spider as the villain if Quaritch bites the dust. His whole story is a literal villain origin story. Also, can we just say that we don't want a redemption arc for Quaritch in the next movie? We want him dead so that we can see where the third movie takes Spider. We want to see if he proves Neytiri was right about him or he proves her wrong by showing everyone that his heart has been with the Na'vi all along. along. Next up at number 2, are we going to see Amrita misused? The Way of Water didn't really show if the Sky People were done mining for unobtainium, or if they were still doing it after having burned down all the forests. It was confirmed, though, by Scoresby and Dr. Gavin that Amrita, the anti-aging serum being extracted from the Tulkans, is the thing funding all the operations by the Resource Development Authority, RDA. This serum is being sold on Earth at $1 million per vial. We also know that Earth is just down bad and time is running out, so their first priority is to find a way to make Pandora a home for humans. We also know that they found a way to resurrect dead soldiers into avatar bodies with the full capabilities of the Na'vi individuals. However, even with all the firepower that the Sky People have at their disposal, it is not enough to put the Na'vi away for good. So, what's stopping them from using some Amrita to create something more dangerous and immune to death to solve their problem? It doesn't have to be perfect, and with these experiments usually rolling out, it'll probably turn them into something more similar to the way they are on the inside. Read as monsters. James, if you're seeing this and this wasn't the idea for the third film, you can totally hire us to work with you. It's no biggie. Finally, at number 1 are our expectations and speculations for Avatar 4 and 5. Yes, you heard that right, Avatar 4 and 5. Did you really think James Cameron was going to make a trilogy and end the Na'vi saga there? There are 2 more movies tentatively titled The Tulkun Rider and The Quest for Eywa. Of course, the green light on these projects largely depends on the success of The Way of the Water and The Seedbearer, but let's be honest, it's Avatar and James Cameron we're talking about here. The movies are bound to be successes. Producer John Landau told Screen Rant, each sequel will take us to new places. So theoretically, the sequels would show us a desert region or a polar cap region, all very exciting. And of course, we also know the characters from The Way of Water who will be a part of what's to come, like Quaritch, Jake, Neytiri, and most of the Sullys. We have what we think is a pretty strong guess about what's coming next. In the first movie, the only thing at stake for the humans was a valuable mine. You could see them cutting their losses and saying it wasn't worth the trouble. But in The Way of Water, we learned that the humans aren't on Pandora for a science mission or to find minerals. They're there for occupation and conquest. Amrita is also in the equation now, so human beings will most probably stop at nothing to get their hands on it. Earth's resources have been used up, the planet is uninhabitable, and now for humanity, it is do or die. There is no way the Sky People will give up because their survival is at stake. As from the past movies, we know that the human colony on Pandora is called Bridgehead City, and a bridgehead is a strong position inside enemy territory that's used for staging further attacks. So, since we know that humans by nature will never stop expanding, it'll be on the Na'vi to stop them in their tracks. The Na'vi are at a huge disadvantage here with their lack of technology. In the coming movies, we suspect Kiri to have a huge role to play. As she is the one that embodies the will of Eywa, the Na'vi might not have the technology that humans have, but they have their deity that has now taken physical form and can cause an immune response from the ecosystem at will. As for the fifth film, both Cameron and producer John Landau have hinted that the narrative will shift to Earth so we can see Jake Sully become the poster child for peace on both fronts. Since the movies follow a sort of metaphorical mirroring of reality, with the first one mirroring the effect of unchecked military doings, and the second one mostly about the American wars on Vietnam and Iraq, Cameron will have to shift the narrative to what the solutions are for these things: activism. With the third one possibly following the theme of colonialism, Jake Sully's character will play a huge role. Exciting stuff, guys. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about the fan theories and our speculations for Avatar 4 and 5? Have you watched the new movie? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.